sort of like I was saying before, though. I mean, take someone like me, for example, right? The way that I got into politics was through men's rights. And that's something that I really care about because I love men and I care about them being treated fairly, particularly in, you know, the court system and particularly when it comes to fatherhood and what have you. And I really care about that. And these are things where back in Australia, I've had marches. I've contributed a lot of money to the issue. Like I've done things that I think might help push the envelope. And I talk about this a lot on my channel. With some of your views, again, you might alienate a lot of people who would otherwise be ready to support you and your followers. And if you are oppressed like you think you are, then you are alienating particularly women. There's so many women you don't realize who really, really wants the best for men. And I simply don't understand this, oh, you know, let's sort of push women to maybe the corner in some capacity. When, like, again, otherwise people like me and other anti-feminist women are like, yep, cool, like, let's fight for men's rights because we care about that.
Yeah.
I mean, is that not problematic?
This is problematic. I mean, see, this is kind of, but see, this is why I have to be the way that I am, because I break the mold. If you want to watch a show that, what you're asking for is pandering. If you want to show,
I'm not.
You kind of are.
I'm asking you, is it not? No, because framing is everything, right? You can promote an idea that might be inaccessible to people when you say, yeah, we should just cut all the tails off the cats. And people go, no, that's animal abuse. That's a horrible idea. But if you come at it, you go, look, it actually helps with this, that, and the other, and you actually provide reasoning for many of your viewpoints. People go, okay, that's actually not so psychotic. Yes, I can get on board with that. But if you're like, yeah, women, this or I actually, you know, because again, I don't have any sound bites from you saying things about women, so I'm not going to put words in your mouth. But if you do have some sort of bizarre opinion towards women that might not be based in reality, but rather from, I don't know, maybe a negative experience, maybe trauma, I don't know what your background's like. And I'm saying, like, maybe there's some issues here that need to be unpacked.
I have a good example
especially
of this.
for, you know, some of your audience. I'm assuming that they've not had particularly nice experiences in life so far. But rather than, you know, going into the world being angry and trying to bash people because they don't 100% align with you, I don't understand how that's pushing the envelope or helping anybody.
But that's not it. We're not bashing people because they don't align.
Do you read the stuff that your people say? And they make it personal too. They're not saying you've got a shit idea. They attack you as a human being.
See, this is what I'm talking about. It's just sort of like this, like, don't you think that's problematic? Like, don't you think women like me are doing? It's like, you know, listen, we don't have time for political correctness. We don't have time
it's not about
to
being politically correct. It's
pander
about
to the
demonizing
feelings of women.
50% of the population.
We're not demonizing them. Listen, we're more
Do you
based
read your own
than
comments?
anybody.
Do you read your own comments?
I read my comments.
So
yes.
you're aware of how these people feel about
Yes.
women. And women's just the example. I'm sure that they have shitty opinions towards a myriad of other people.
I want to cut in here and say this. This is actually important. This is what my wife noticed. She's a good woman. She stays at home. She doesn't want to work. I think she's she's what I wanted in a wife, right? I think that's kind of actually what you said, Joey, for a woman. Like I always joke.
No, just wants to make a bunch of little children and
but it's
he wants to do the Epstein thing. No, he wants to do the Jeffrey Epstein. He just wants to clone
No,
him.
but like I don't really think that men and women were like really made to be
maybe
friends.
in a couple of years, Nick, you'll be able to just drop your sperm into a thing and then a baby will be
Honestly,
no women required.
You can do that already.
Much better, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say, but my point was what I thought was interesting, especially with like young dudes, is I went to a convention for the American Populist Union in Florida. And what was interesting was these are just a bunch of young dudes. One thing that my wife noticed was that because she had just stopped by to bring me something that I forgot in a piece of sound equipment or something like that, is that she was saying that while she stood there was that the young boys seem to be anti-women or bitter at women rather than like, hey, I'm going to actually, like you said, like I'm going to live a society where I'm going to make money and I don't believe in egalitarianism. I don't think women and men are traditionally friends in the way that society says they are. And I don't think that husbands and wives have to be friends in the way that you think they are, and that there's a place for women. And even traditionally when couples hung out, the men hung out together outside and barbecued and did whatever they went to the gentlemen's clubs, not the current strip clubs, but like actual male spaces, and women had their own female spaces, and there was this together but separate, ideology. And she was saying that she just goes, I'm just nervous, right, as a woman, that like rather than men trying to become strong men that would attract a traditional woman who wants to stay in her place, that it becomes a movement, like she was saying, that is just about being it comes across anti-woman, not pro-traditional woman.
Right.
And that's all I think she's trying to say. I thought it was a fair observation from my wife of like, not that they need to create the space or a car is for driving. They don't need to have women in here. They don't need to invite women. They can ban women. Who cares? But she was just saying that like a lot of these young guys she spoke to were just like, haha, shut up, bitch, you're a woman.
Yeah.
Rather,
Yeah.
which is fair if you're like 21. But when you're like, when you start to get older and you know, you want to reproduce.
When you're
and women
mature,
have
you're
a-
like, quiet, bitch.
you think,
Excuse me.
well, but I'm saying that you actually take the authority and not just like say you have it. It's like you live it out in your real world with your wife, and you actually provide her the home, and you give her the place and the position to be in her place type of thing. It's like, well, women should be in their place. Well, your job is to provide that place. Like, we're supposed to marry them and give them the home so that you wanted them to stay home. Well, who's giving them the home? It's a man who knows what the fuck he's doing. So like, it's like, I see that instead it's just like, well, women need to be somewhere. Well, what? Where are the women going to share? Your bedroom in your mom's house? Like where are the women going to, you want them in the kitchen? Which kitchen? Who's giving them the kitchen? And like, that's what I worry about too with some of these like younger movements, is it's very based and cool, but not always based in reality.
Yep.
No, I think it is based in reality because, again, you have to, it's all contextual, which is to say that, look at the society that we live in, which is like this insane, shrill, shrieking, feminist society. And it's within the context of this where my show is a place where it's like men talking about women, how we really feel, not pandering to them like they're a voting block, not pandering to them like we necessarily need their approval or need to win them over or something. My show's a show for men. Politics, in my opinion, is really it's a domain of men. And I'm speaking to men politically on the nature and the role of women. And this sort of attitude towards women
Nick,
is...
you don't know
But see here, can I finish here?
Course,
I mean, I've
yes.
heard this now.
Yes.
The point is really to sort of tell men about the place of women. And you're right, Elijah, men need to put women in their place, but first we've got to destroy this pedestal that women are put on by honestly both like feminists as well as simps, because there's sort of two sides to it. On the one hand, you have these like male feminists that say like, oh, women are the same as men, and like, hey, you go, girl. If anything, I'll be the one in the kitchen. And then you've got these simps that are like, m'lady, she's more pure than me, she could do no wrong. And it's like, well, let's think about how ancient people thought about women. Let's think about how people hundreds of years thought about women. They didn't idealize them. If anything, in the 19th century, they thought that women were more promiscuous and women were more sort of primal and animalistic and less rational and these kinds of things. And they didn't see women as like divine, the best thing in the world. They saw them as like, they reproduce, and then that's kind of their play in society. And so my show is with the mind towards basically destroying this feminist frame. And that goes for the whole thing. People come to me and they say, you're alienating people, it's provocative, it's whatever. And that's really sort of intentional in the sense that it's everybody has this liberal, feminist, sort of anti-white frame. And, my show is offensive. It's more than slightly offensive. It's very offensive.
That's why you're not on Blaze TV.
That's right. That's why I'm on Cozy TV, not YouTube or DLive. It's with a mind towards destroying the frame. And, I don't know that, like, if I were the president, I wouldn't be saying, shut up, bitch, from the Oval Office. But the point of my show is to really change the whole conversation and change attitudes. And so I don't even have it in mind of, like, gee, what are women going to think of this? Like that. If I were to do that before my show, it wouldn't be the same show. It would be cringe.
But neither of us, Elijah and I do this every day, right? And neither of us, when we talk, think, is this going to offend women? I mean, neither of us think about, is this going to offend men, or is this going to offend black people, or is this going to offend... No, we just say...
Dude, you just complain about comments under Nick's videos. That's pathetic. And honestly, if you hate women for being women, you're just a retard. But thankfully, most of Nick's fans are intelligent people. Most of them go against feminism, so feminists. And unfortunately, a lot of liberal, woke people are women. So Nick's fans go against them because of their ideology, not because they're women. And Nick's audience is Christians, so they want to get married. Obviously, they're straight, so they like women. Nobody's going against women because they're women. Like, that's stupid.
More than he does, though, I will say, because, like, this too, is like, because you stream on multiple platforms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that sometimes, like, where you can take things further than people think you can take them, but you also know, like, the 5D chess thing, kind of like, I mean, clearly, if you become too hot of a target, like, eventually, like, you get a strike and then you have to chill for a second, because you're like, I got to chill for, like, a second, and get the heat off, and then move in that position. But, like, Nick's in a position, which I noticed, is that he's got nothing else to lose except maybe being put in prison or being shot.
Well, but
which is like slightly different.
To Sidney's point a little bit, though, Nick, how is that attitude any different than what liberals are currently doing to the right? in that they're saying we don't care if we offend them, we don't care if we alienate them. We want to institute what we want. We want to break down the nuclear family.
Yeah, well,
we
liberals
want to
are
put in
winning.
our structure.
Liberals are winning.
So you're saying they have a winning strategy. You think that's something we should emulate?
Yes, not in the sense of the content of what they say, but in the strategy. Yes, liberals, I should say, like, Democrats are alienating voters with some of the stuff that they say, but yeah, liberals go out there and they say, here's our worldview. Like, we don't care if this offends. Like, how about Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman? They're putting out this abominable Christmas special. It's just the most Jewish thing you've ever seen.
19,000 dislikes.
Yes,
on,
and it's more than that. It was like over 70,000.
No.
Yeah, 72,000.
Okay.
And they turned off the comments and turned off the likes because all those Eric was writing YouTube
and fat.
But telling them how much he was upset about the dislike attacks that were happening.
Yeah, that's
you saw that though, right? Like how they came into the defense of that movie because it was like elves flashing Santa or some bullshit, and it was like it's disgusting. It was weird. It's also weird too. Like cartoon porn is a weird thing.
Yeah, it's repugnant, but the point being is, like, not that we should emulate that. That's sickness, but it goes to show the sort of brazenness. Liberals, I hate liberals. I hate liberals so much. And I'm not liberal. I'm not a classical liberal. I'm not a left. I'm right wing. I'm illiberal. I'm anti-liberal. But the way that they approach this is they're like, we want the moon and the stars. We're coming for your kids. We're coming for everything. We are going to dictate how society goes. And conservatives are sort of like, well, what's your point of view? Well, let's reach a middle ground. Well, and like that attitude is just, it's lethal, because if we believe that, like, we're in the struggle of good and evil, then there can be no quarter for evil. There can be no quarter for these sort of, like...
what about people like me who think that some of your views might... No, I wouldn't say evil. That's not terminology I would use. But what about people like me who are on the right who think I don't like...
But are you on the right, really?
Yes.
What would you say is right? What would you say is right wing? What would your definition be?
I think you need to be more specific.
What is right wing to you? Say you're right wing. What does that mean to you?
Well, I certainly don't align in really any capacity with the other side of things. So where does that leave me?
Well, I mean, to get back to the origin of the term right and left wing comes from the French Revolution and the National Assembly. For people that don't know, the supporters of the monarchy on the right and the liberals are on the left. And it gets to this idea of preserving the old way of doing things. What you're talking about, which is, go ahead.
No, sorry.
Jump in, yeah.
No, it's all right. You keep going.
Like, not the left is not really sufficient. It's a very sort of specific thing about hierarchy, authority, about differentiation, which is something you were talking about earlier, differences between groups, between the races, between the genders, these kinds of things. And so I don't necessarily know, and I'm not saying this to be antagonistic, but I think it's presumptuous to say necessarily that we're 100% both right wing or on the same page or have the same definition of right wing. Because you say, well, I'm right wing and you're alienating me. And it's like, well, I would contest that. I never said you were
alienating me, but I would say I disagree with a number of your views, and I would hope that they would never come to fruition, is what I hope. But, yeah. I mean, it's to say that this is why I don't call myself a conservative, because by many definitions of the Puritan conservatives, if you don't 100% fit in their framework of what they deem a conservative to be, then you are not a conservative and they will X you out. Fair enough, if that's what they want to do.
You become a California conservative. Yeah. I heard that's really popular these days.
So, I mean...
It's a callback.
I don't know how to answer that question, because I think you need to be more specific when you...
Yeah, because you don't even know what you believe. That's the point, And you're just confirming what Nick has been saying. It's all about feelings. It's a feminist world. And people need to wake up. Like, complaining about comments, but you don't even know what you believe. And you're an adult. It's fucking insane.
Ask it, but if there's no better term. I mean, you want to come up with a better term for me, fine. But I would say that, believe it or not, there's probably a multitude of things that you and I align on, but obviously the big ones we don't, or several of the big ones we don't. But this is to say that, I mean, just because I'm not a conservative doesn't mean in some capacity that my views
Trying to say, are you quiet because you agree, or are you just listening?
No, look, I'm not the one to, I don't get, y'all know how I operate. I don't fucking get offended at what the fuck someone else says, definitely, because I there's no identity crisis suffered here. I know what the fuck I am.
Yeah, that's it. So guys, let me know in the comments what you think, if you agree with Nick, or maybe you agree with a self-claimed right-wing girl that is not even a conservative. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to. Christ is King, and God bless you.